Hello everybody, welcome back to the Homestory Cup. We have uThermal's Zerg going up against Moja's Terran here in Group B. And uThermal opening up with a 15 hatch, presumably, yes. Whereas Moja is going for a low ground wall. Very interesting. We've seen this time and time again from Terran players. And let's see what Moja does with it. Usually we see we see 2 racks and then up to 4 Reapers, and usually then they just expand and go from there. Sometimes you see like a hidden barracks somewhere in the base, go for 3 racks Reaper, but you need 2 gases for that, so we'll keep an eye on that. The second barracks does go down, and on the other side of the map, uThermal going for a pool after hatch. Overlord pops. Now a couple drones are probably gas as soon as he spent all of his larva. And there we go. Gas going down. So Moja opening up this way confirms to me that at least Moja knows which race uThermal is. So in that sense, he's race picking. I don't know if he determines it randomly or he picks what he feels like. Could not find that. Didn't bother to ask him. I feel like he has better stuff to do with his life. So we do see the double Reaper coming out. The Overlord has to move back to this pillar because he doesn't know if this is going to be Marines or not. It's most likely Reapers, but if there is a Marine, the Overlord will die. But that means the Overlord can't go back here and like confirm that it's a CC. Instead, he just sits on this pillar. He does see the Reaper leave, so he kind of knows what's up here. I would be, sending the Overlord in and then back just to see if there's add-ons. I don't know if that's a good move. Something I would do. And this Reaper's trying to get a little cheeky on the drones here, but no drones were killed. One becomes a gas, the other one becomes a spore. And the Queen is out. The other Queen is also out, and so we have double Queen in production, double Queen on the map. Pretty forward creep tumor here, and the Reapers are not in position to cancel that. We do see a second gas for Moja here. After the command center, and it's going up to 3, one more, 4 Reapers, and looks like he's not going to make any extra. Actually building a 3rd CC here as well, so pretty greedy here from Moja. Whereas uThermal not going for a 3rd base so far, and he's still mining gas after speed, starts a lair. So this looks to be either 2-base Muta, which seems a little weird on this map. So it could also be like roaches, speed roach, maybe some dropper lord stuff, but I would assume just speed roach, couple ravagers, lings, but maybe he keeps making queens and then could also be like a German taxi-like build from 2-base, so I don't know what variant that would be. We do see the roach run almost completed already. Stim is underway, we have a reactor, and there is a factory, so we do have potential for some tanks to be built here. Double engineering bay in the back for Moja as well. My god, he's being a greedy little bastard. Just the 4 Reapers, but he knows that uThermal does not have a 3rd base. So, being very greedy in the eye of a 2-base Zerg, not respecting it. I love it. We see double gas at the Nat. Only one gas in the main, and Moja hasn't confirmed this just yet. Looks like he wants to confirm it right now. He goes into the main, he sees the lair, he sees the gas, he clicks on one drone and kills one drone. That's 4 queens on the map right now. And we see a reactor on the factory with the starport, so going like for the 2-1-1 here, just a bunch of Marines with medevacs, which is pretty strong against 2-base Muta if you execute better. Because if you are still in your base when the Mutas arrive, it's not very good. But if you're at your opponent's side of the map when he wants to start making Mutas, it's really good. So on the ladder, 2-base Muta can actually beat the 2-1-1 if your execution is bad on the 2-1-1 side. Or just too greedy, I suppose, if it's just too delayed. And the roaches are moving out. We saw a dropper lord being created here with 4 queens. And it's moving out to the base of Moja. And on the minimap, we can see the roaches moving out. Now, the Reaper's actually missing this move out of the roaches completely. And we see an Overlord moving in. The roaches haven't shown themselves yet. And the Marines are ready. The queens drop. And the roaches now come to the front. Oh, the Marines, the stim! Oh my god, the Overlord with all of the queens going down. The roaches are now at the front. And they do target down Combat Shield. The roaches, they do have speed. 1 Ravager being added on. We're targeting down at least 1 supply depot. And now, and the barracks might even fall. It's burning, and it probably dies here, unless the SCVs save it. Oh, Corrosive Bile not on the barracks, but still, Reapers from behind do die. I guess F2 not so strong after all. Oh my god, the stim comes in, and the roaches and the Ravagers are running away. They don't want to fight that amount of Marines. 1-1 is done. Oh my god. But barely any production here from Moja. Both of these barracks are gone. Like, one of them died, and the other one is still floating about. So, if uThermal just keeps making roaches, he could probably bust here. Kills another reactor, or at least starts it, starts a little fire there. More Ravagers joining the fray. Now, the SCVs are being pulled, and Moja's army is just not increasing. And if you look at the army supply, uThermal's looking pretty strong there. More SCVs coming out to sacrifice themselves for the Dominion. But Moja doesn't seem like he has enough firepower behind the SCVs anymore, and he calls GG. And uThermal takes down Moja in game number 1 on Ghost River with his Zerg. And we are now here for game number 2, and again, uThermal electing to be the Zerg pieces versus Moja here on Site Delta. And as always, be sure that you subscribe to the channel, perhaps even like the video before the action kicks off here in game number 2. So we see another cheeky 15 hatch. This it's a pretty interesting build, different from the normal 16 hatch. And this mostly has the advantage that your base doesn't get blocked. But you can also get a slightly earlier pool, which usually you don't. Moja this time around does not go for a low ground double barracks wall, goes for a single barracks wall, doesn't want to get punished again by a cheeky roach push coming out of uThermal. Now the pool goes down, and the gas timing exactly the same as previous game. Let's see what uThermal has in store for Moja here. Hiccups. Now we have a Marine opener, so we're gonna see a relatively quick factory coming out of Moja. Could also be a reactor, I suppose, but I don't think so. I have no reason for that, other than I just think a quicker factory better. Overlord's coming across the map, and let's see if it gets caught here by the double Marine. He hasn't seen a Reaper go out, so going up is a little dangerous, but there is a pillar over here that I think you can make if you run for the hills right away. But the second Marine comes in, and I'm not quite sure if you can actually make it. I think he's gonna make it, boys. Oh, the Overlord just saved himself for a little bit. As soon as the command center is done, usually they'll lift it up and kill it. So you need to like leave right now and hope that you are in the line of vision, so that... Oh, there he goes. Look at that, he's leaving. Wait, it doesn't see it? And so the command center is going to lift up, and he's not going to find the Overlord. Wasted time. It could have been an orbital instead. Yeah, there he goes. He lifts it up. And no Overlord. Get got, nerd. Let's see what uThermal has in store on the other side of the map. Again, he's still mining gas, so a quick lair could be in the cards. No Evo chamber, so no quick upgrade. And here we go. We see a lair, a couple extra drones before that lair goes down. And we see a third command center once again for Moja, going for reactive Hellions with a second barracks behind it. So we do have Stim pretty quickly behind these Hellions. Do like that he's making a couple Hellions because he didn't make a Reaper, so he doesn't have any scouting whatsoever. Oh, so the reactor goes over to the barracks, so it's another 2-1-1 here for Moja. And we do see a third base going down for uThermal. We see Overlord speed once again. No Roach Warren this time around. 3 Queens on the ramp. Hellions won't get through that without a little cheeky Reaper Bomb. This Creep Tumor really, really wants to complete. Chrono Boost that shit. And the Hellions find it. They don't get the shot off, and Moja does sacrifice a little bit of cheeky HP on his Hellion for that Creep Tumor kill. Now we do see an Overlord Cocoon. It's a bunch of Dropper Lords, actually, with a bunch of Zerglings. So he's going to drop Queens and Zerglings into his opponent's main base, but his opponent has a bunch of Lings, or Marines. Oh, that's 6 Queens? 5 Queens? 5 Queens and a bunch of Zerglings. Oh no, and the Hellions run in. They see the Overlords leaving. And Moja probably prepares for the worst. Bunker is underway. And again, going for double ups. Moja's going for another pretty greedy build here. I mean, it's pretty standard, but punishable. And here come the Overlords. No Roaches this time around, just Zerglings. Zerglings in hold position. Try to kill a couple SCVs. Don't make it so far. Stim is already done. Here come the Queens and the Zerglings being dropped on top of the army of Moja. The SCVs are pulled off the line, and these SCVs do God's work right now. Moja has a lot of DPS behind these SCVs, so a lot of SCVs will go down here. Oh, a couple of transfuses could have gone down. Oh, another Overlord full of Queens goes down, just like game number 1. But the push has been held. 25 SCVs to 30 drones from uThermal. And he's making 20 more Lings here. That's a lot of Lings. Is he going to go for another round? He has more Overlords. He has a bunch of gas. I think he just hasn't played this build beyond this point. Because, I mean, that's what happens, right? If you're floating a bunch of gas, you probably haven't refined the build enough. And that's a lot of Lings coming out of uThermal here. Maybe he's waiting for a move out from Moja. That would be really cheeky. The cheeky word, dude. And we see a little scout with the Overlord. He sees 3 racks. He sees a third CC. And now the Lings do come into the natural. The Marines just move on up. 1-1 is about to finish. uThermal knows about everything. And he knows how precarious his situation is right now. If he does not get this around before the starport is done, his game is over. That's a lot of red Marines, though. Maybe he can punish this. 1-1 is done for Moja, so his Marines are pretty strong. A pseudo-surround comes up, but the SCVs won't have anything of that. They want to protect their Marines, and uThermal just doesn't have enough Lings anymore to flood and overwhelm the force that Moja has. Look at that. All of the Marines getting so many free shots onto the Zerg pieces. And wow, this creep just didn't want to recede at all. Still no medevac, but it's just pure Zergling. We see a couple more Dropper Lords and a Roach Warren now. Still that one gas just mining away. And Moja now actually closes the wall in front. Interesting that he didn't do that earlier. He just stayed on the ramp, and that was enough. Bunch of Lings on the map. 51 Lings. We see Roach Burrow. We see Banelings coming out, and we see drones. So perhaps uThermal actually gearing up to play a longer game here. These Zerglings get aggroed into the Marines. A couple of them do die. We have 3 Dropper Lords full of Zerglings going for the main base. And there's a pretty hefty force here ready for Moja to protect his third base. But are they ready to protect his main base? 3 more barracks coming out. And these Lings do want to run by into the natural, but this tank says no. And these additional Marines says what he said. Oh my god, Moja going up to 8 barracks here. Triple Ling drop in the main. And we do have a couple of Marines and a tank here to contest. Bunch more Marines come in and uThermal calls G to the G. Another run-by of his ran into a force of Moja. He split his army well. And uThermal just can't find the damage that he wants to find in this game number 2. Meaning that we go to a game number 3. And Moja takes down uThermal in game number 2 there on Site Delta. And now we're in for a game number 3 for all the marbles. And uThermal, the Protoss fan himself, elects to play Protoss versus Moja here. And we've seen Moja play some Terran versus Protoss. And I've honestly been pretty impressed with how aggressive and mechanically skilled Moja is in that matchup. He has no fear of the Disruptor. No fear of the High Templar. No fear of the Colossus. He just runs in and tries to kill his opponent. Or at least trade efficiently. And the probe comes into the base of Moja now. uThermal can do some counter-harassment. That's probably very... feels good, probably. Cathartic, I think, because this probe has harassed him a lot of times with how many games he's probably played in his life of Terran vs. Protoss. Do you see Cheeky Reaper? Cheeky. Another Reaper wall here for uThermal. And looking at a Nexus Aftercore. We see a Reaper coming out here for Moja. And looking to build a command center. uThermal does get to confirm that it is a command center. Oh, this SCV might actually die to the probe! First blood. We're gonna go for the double kill. And he probably has to leave right now. He knows when the Reaper is going to come out. And this probe is a cheeky bugger. Is it gonna go straight home? Because the Reaper will just catch up. Oh, the Duke! The Juke! This Reaper trying to catch this probe, but the probe finds a little corner to hide in and goes back in to harass this SCV some more. There is a Marine out, a factory building. This Reaper got F2'd back. And there's even a bunker already building here. Moja being rather defensive. Now the depth already out here for uThermal. Shades on top of the Reaper. Doesn't get a second shot. So the Reaper's still fairly healthy. Do you see the factory here? Probably going to see a Cyclone. And the Reaper does go up. It scouts the Twilight console. No other pylon available for that building to be created. So this Reaper is safe. Gets away on this little ledge. And confirms that indeed it's Twilight console. We have 2 gateways. And Stalkers are being pushed out from uThermal. He only has 1 Adept. And he's now making Stalkers. Bunker with 1 Marine. And now a reactor finishes up for more Marines. We have a starport with a tech lab. So probably going to be seeing... Oh, a tank. Oh, no. Stops the tank right away. He's like, no. No tank. It's time for Banshees. Sadly, no battle cruiser, no fusion core on the map. So probably going to be a Banshee with cloak. Now that's a pretty cheeky, stupid word. That's a cool choice, especially knowing that it's Twilight console, meaning that the robo is probably delayed. And no starport. So the Banshee is always going to find some value. Because if it's starport, it's just like an Oracle will revelate it, and then... If they make 1 Phoenix, they can kill infinite Banshees. The tank is attempting to be made, but slight supply block for Moja there. Now we do have a couple Stalkers here. And they walk back to the mineral lines, trying to protect his own mineral line from potential Widowmine drops. The Shade comes in again, does not complete, and does not find out about the Banshee. And this Banshee is going to go out on the hunt, on the prowl. second Banshee's also underway. So we're going to have Cloak, and if the Banshee waits here, the other Banshee goes across the map towards the third base, then we might have some double Cloak Banshee action here that could do a lot of probe damage. And doesn't matter how good you are, if you have no economy, you might be in trouble. Third base underway for uThermal. We see a Robo coming out as well. And shield batteries coming out. Now here is that first Banshee. And it gets shot by a couple Stalkers. Now Cloak finishes up. He uses Cloak, but he's too afraid. It's like, if there is an Observer, I will lose my Banshee right away. And maybe he waits for a second Banshee. Wait, what? Is there... Where's the other one? Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's a second Banshee and a third one underway. That is interesting. Usually you see 1 or 2, not 3. Because with 2, you one-shot probes. So what you need the third for? The third Banshee, perhaps to kill Stalkers? Maybe a shield battery? I don't know, but we do have a move out here from Moja. And I don't know if this is a real move out. Behind it, he's going double NG-Bay, double gas, more racks, another CC. Like, it doesn't look like he wants to attack, but... Oh, big blink here from uThermal on top of the army. Kills the first tank. And now gets away from the Marines. Could probably shave off a couple extra ones. But in the natural, we do have... Oh my god, the Stalker's actually getting caught by the Marines there. And the Banshee's getting a couple probe kills here. These Marines could even run into the third base. Moja making it difficult for uThermal to manage all of his mineral lines. And there we go. These Banshees wreaking havoc on the mineral line of uThermal. We do have the third Banshee out and about somewhere. I don't know where it went, but it's somewhere. There it is. Found it. See a little pip on the minimap? Was very suspect. Okay, uThermal does survive the onslaught, losing 9 probes in total. Charge almost ready. He has these Colossus now, getting range. More gateways underway. Only has 2. Oh, so he's a pretty low gateway count, and Moja, luckily for uThermal, isn't really moving out just yet. He has 3 Banshees now. It's pretty cool. No hyperflight rotors, though, so no super fast Banshees. We have 1 Colossus. The second one is coming out, and we have +1 underway as well. Even a Templar Archives now. 4 more gates being added on, so uThermal going up to 4 or 6 gates, and starting to mine out these minerals, getting a 4th base attempt ready. Now we see 1-1 stim combat shields all finishing up for Moja, which would be a pretty nice timing for him to attack with 4 medevacs, bunch of bio, and all of the upgrades that he could afford. We also see Armory ready to get 2-2 right after. And not a lot of factory units being created right now. I don't even know where the factory is. Hello? I swear there was one. Okay, 1 Zealot is getting to... Oh, there it is. Okay, and 0 factory units. It's just a spotter in this game. Moja does not want to do anything with those factory units. No Widow Mines, no siege tanks, no Thors. Just bio and medevacs. Maybe some libs and Vikings later on. And these Banshees being quite annoying. 6 kills on that one. Another one here with 3. So the dynamic duo has been split up, and look at that. These invisible Banshees get into the third base unrestricted, contested. And they do target down a couple of probes. This Banshee almost running out of energy here. There is an observer now, but 9 more probes going down to these Banshees. Excuse me, 10 probes. This is really putting a dent into the economy of uThermal here. 19 probes have died. Now we do have some extra gateways. Finally, Storm coming out. No extra upgrade just yet. 2-2. Not started from Moja yet, but he is making 6 ghosts at a time. That's... I usually don't see that, but 6 ghosts out of 8 barracks. Which means most of his barracks have tech labs. This is a Marauder, man. And sometimes just a bunch of ghosts. Now, ghosts are pretty expensive. Which probably means... Or that was probably why his 2-2 is slightly delayed. Moja is maxed out now, though. Look at his army supply. If he manages to fight with uThermal before... Oh my god, these zealots get caught. This is a pretty difficult map to do run-bys on. Because the bottom half of the map is kind of closed off, so it's basically only 2 paths towards your opponent. Unless you open up rocks in the middle, but that makes the rush distance towards your natural slightly shorter. Now Moja actually splits up his army in 2, and that's 2 huge bio armies. The Banshees on the right, and a big bio army on the left. Stims on into the center of uThermal, kills a shield battery right away. And these Stalkers are getting shut down. We do see some High Templars in a War Prism. 2 of them get killed. I think there's still some Storms left there. On the right, though, uThermal has a pretty sizable force. And 2 Zealots in this War Prism, as you do. uThermal does manage to hold on and snipe a bunch of the army here from Moja. And I feel like that was a pretty decent fight there for uThermal. We have 3 Immortals on deck. 4th one just walks in. 5th one is being produced. Only 1 Robo still. But we do have 9 gateways for uThermal. Getting a 5th base here on the gold. And look at that Moja just making more barracks, dude. An additional command center and 2 starports. So he's getting ready to make a lot of Libs and or Vikings. 2 Vikings being built. He's getting his +1 air upgrade. Decent storm there on the bio. But how is he going to get rid of all of those medevacs? 9 medevacs just healing up all of this bio. Bunch of EMPs ready to land on the army of uThermal. And he has a pretty sizable army, but I feel like, yeah, there we go. A bunch of it is still protecting his bases. He's also taking a 6th there. But Moja making a 6th of his own, or 5th. On location. Love that. Now Zealots coming from the left, Zealots coming from the right. A big Terran sandwich with some Protoss bread on top. And these War Prisms is trying to catch up to get a good storm. You see a decent storm killing some medevacs, but big kiting coming out of Moja. He just stims out of that surround that uThermal was looking for. Now we do have the Thermal Lands trying to take down these Marauders, but Colossi are mostly good at killing Marines, and this is a lot of Marauders. Oh my god, that's a lot of Charge Zealots, though. They go into the fray, protect the army, lots of Immortals shelling away at those Immortals, and looks like a good fight for uThermal. No run-bys or drops going on meanwhile, so just a big, fat main engagement. And, ooh, big Charge Zealot goes in for the kill. There's 2 kills to his name. And even survives. Now both players 170 supply-ish, and uThermal actually moving back here. Let's see how much he knows. Doesn't know anything about these top bases. 2 extra robos are underway, +3 now being constructed as well. More ghosts being added on from Moja. Already has 8 of them. And there we see sensor towers coming up. Another planetary. So Moja really digging in his heels here. Has some money left over. And I feel like both players kind of want to kill these rocks right now. But Moja kills the rocks. And uThermal already looking to move into the 4th base location of Moja. Kills the first tech lab there. Finds an Immortal here at the back. The Stalkers actually blunk forward to try and protect that one Immortal. Gets one of the Stalkers killed. And I don't know what the plan here is, but uThermal doesn't feel too comfortable fighting here. No High Templar in this War Prism, and all of the Colossus are already dead, meaning that there is no AoE, and this Protoss army completely choked up. These Zealots try to trickle in. This High Templar gets sniped. Doesn't get the storm. Doesn't get any feedbacks, and I think uThermal is happy to get out of that alive. We do see 3 Disruptors being built out of those newly constructed Robos at the natural. I mean, I would love a pylon with like 6 cannons and a shield battery there. Just making sure that those Robos don't get killed before some defense can be mounted. Now, this sensor tower, uThermal does know the importance of it, so tries to snipe it with a couple of units. But has a little bit too much HP for those Protoss units to snipe it. Double Forge is going strong. 2-2 from Moja's done, but no 3-3 has been started yet. So uThermal, if he keeps upgrading, he could get a pretty nice lead. But for now, he's slightly in an upgrade deficit. He's trying to force a big fight here. We do have 5 Immortals making this army pretty strong. Nice backbone, and 2 Disruptors are here, throwing the Disruptor balls. This orbital almost goes down to the Immortals and the Stalkers. But now Moja forcing the fight, and it's hard for uThermal to retreat. Another Disruptor comes out, and the ball goes in, and no retreat from the Protoss player. So that means that he's now stuck here. We see a recall on the only 2 Disruptors that still had shots, but they go down. And 2 more Disruptors on the Xel'Naga. Might also go down. That's a lot of Disruptors falling for uThermal. His supply plummeting. He's really floating 3k right now with 13 gateways ready to warp in, and that's 12 Zealots. Boom. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit for that next warp in. Almost maxed out again, and 3 Disruptors at a time. More gateways being produced, but the gold base is in peril. Bunch of Vikings here on the floor, 10 of them. And dude, Vikings are just so cool. They're strong, especially with the upgrades. Like, they're kind of like Marines, but they do better versus Stalkers. It's kind of like a Marauder Viking army. Oh, and the Zealots come from the right, the Zealots come from the left. We see a Disruptor ball. Doesn't hit a big chunk of bio. Gets killed off before it gets a shot off. This Disruptor has to run. The Stalkers are not in a high number. We see no more reinforcement. Bunch of Zealots coming out. More Disruptors. We need to see a good hit here. uThermal needs to stabilize. And we see the Disruptors. Oh no, the Freedom Fields as well. Only 2 Disruptors left here. 1 in the front. Wow. Oh my god. A little bit of the fumbling of bag happening here at the third base of uThermal. Has to give it up. Probes run away. But all of the bases of uThermal are over here. And this gold base almost goes down. I don't think he cares about this third base, but he just really wants to be able to go to his own bases. Now, we do have those extra gateways finishing up. And he still has 1 big warp in the bank. Once the cooldowns of the gateways finish up, 16 gateways, and Moja actually retreats. He knows that the Nexus is there, but there's a little counterattack here from uThermal. Bunch of Zealots trying to get something done at the third base. Oh, these Stalkers find some nice kills on the air units there from Moja, clicking down the Liberator as well. And we have 5 Disruptors right now, and you can use those very effectively to zone away the Terran army. But the Terran is doing the same thing with the Liberators. Remember, we saw 3 starports being created. We do not have Liberator range just yet, so no fusion core, so it could be even more dire for uThermal here. Moja just pressing up against him, has a way higher army supply. The upgrades are starting to favor uThermal, but as I say that, Moja's 3-3 is about to finish up, and uThermal just can't afford to lose both of these right side bases. And he knows he's warping in the Zealots. He's telegraphing that he wants to fight for this base. And the Zealots are forced to go in. We see a recall. The Disruptors come in. The balls come out. And that's 4 Disruptor balls. They barely hit any of the bio. Moja doing his best Neo impression. Just dodging all of those shots. And now this 5th base or 6th base, I don't know how many base, is forfeit. All of the Disruptors are going down. Only 3 left on the map here. Bunch of SCVs do go down on the other side because of another nice zombie run by from uThermal. And another base was seen because the probes, as soon as the base dies, they want to, like, bring their minerals to the closest base. And they kind of, you know, they told Moja where it is. Now, we do see this run by doing a lot of damage, but if you look at the supply, the army of Moja is huge, whereas the army of uThermal is non-existent. He has 2 Disruptors. That is his army. This is a run-by. The run-by is bigger than his army. And he's getting some decent kills on the reinforcements, but it's just not enough. Moja's war machine is too efficient, too damn big. Kills off the entire economy of uThermal. Does have this 1 base in the top left, but not quite enough. And uThermal had to tap out, and Moja actually takes down uThermal in this best of 3. uThermal, of course, not playing Terran, but he's been playing some random for us, so definitely no slouch on the other races. But still, nice win for Moja, and that, I don't know what that does to the standings. Moja might actually end up being over uThermal in this tournament. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series of StarCraft 2. If you notice that, yes, I'm wearing the same shirt as in the previous cast, because I have a wedding this week, so I have to kind of like get a couple casts in before then, or at least one extra, basically, because I just do one a day, usually, and so sometimes I miss a day, but now, you know, I see it coming. I see that I have a wedding, so I want to be prepared. Hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.